Hey friends, this is Dolynny TV. Welcome aboard. Enough about the playoffs for at least right now. The Edmonton Oilers behind the scenes and out in the public are doing some pretty big things, gearing up for what is going to be a pretty important organizational overhaul this offseason and into next year. The Oilers kind of no, I think as much as we know as well that this team is not a sustainable long term thing, right? You got guys who are here who are the wrong side of 30, a bunch of them, and guys that, like Jeff Skinner, are here just to get into the playoffs and try and win a cup. And you got guys that are aging out of the ranks of being effective players like Corey Perry. So, despite honestly having an incredible year, Corey Perry doesn't have many miles left on him, especially should the Oilers go on to win the Stanley Cup this summer after chasing it how many times in the 2020s already. So with that, if you are new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button here as we break down today's news. A signing out of the Liga, which is famously, well, we tracked that a few years back with Jesper Puljujärvi when he was over there. This year, we signed an SHL, the Swedish Hockey League's leading scorer. Well, we might as well also sign the Liga's leading scorer, a defenseman by the name of Atro Leppänen, who comes to us highly regarded for his offense, not so much for his defense, but we like those guys here. Well, until they start giving up defensive miscues and we start trying to run them out of town like we did with Bouchard earlier in the year. So, 1-year entry-level deal for Atro Leppänen, who will join the Oilers likely in a capacity between Bakersfield and the Oilers club this year, right? The Oilers kind of thin on the back end of guys who can do that. Cam Dineen has been the guy this year. Josh Brown was also the guy earlier on in the year before he kind of just disappeared for a little bit there. But things have been kind of, up and down with the Oilers defense all year long. And shoring up a defenseman who can transport the puck and also score you points because of doing so is always going to be a good thing. I don't think anybody who's watched this channel thinks it's a mystery that I think when the defense scores points, the Oilers win more. And quite honestly, you look at how many points the defense have this year. If they have half those totals, we're losing a heck of a lot of hockey games. So it's nice to see that the Oilers still continue to take the offensive side of the blue line seriously. And now we can also take a look at this. What else they're taking seriously, which is the work they have put into signing organizational depth pieces, organizational pipeline pieces, organizational pivots, if you would, as well. So you kind of know the Oilers have signed some free agents this offseason for other leagues, whether it be in Europe or whether it be the NCAA. They've signed David Tomaszek, they've signed Josh Szymanski, Atro Leppänen now, and Damian Carfagna, who, those are all guys who are coming in here, to make a difference next year. I don't think anybody can really make a difference this year, nor will they. Connor Clattenburg, Samuel Jansson, and of course Nathan Day, all prospects we drafted once upon a time or recently, like Connor Clattenburg, and guys who will take that next step, whether it be with the ECHL Fort Wayne Comets or whether it be with the Bakersfield Condors next year. Quinn Hudson, Maxim Barozhkin, both mentioned to be being worked on here over the past 24 hours. Both of those players coming with some pedigree as well. Hudson, of course, the third of that trio of Hudson brothers, so keep that in mind there. And you look at this up and down right there throughout the organization. You've added a total of 5 forwards, 2 defensemen, and 2 goaltenders. Let me tell you, the Bakersfield Condors, well, you add 5 forwards. That's a whole new almost bottom 6, top 6, however you want to look at it. And then you add on 2 goaltenders to the pipeline. That's pretty important considering Connor Delia will not be getting time. And I would assume Brett Brochu gets signed back as well to back up Ollie Rodrigue down there in Bakersfield, depending on what the whole goaltending situation turns out to be this summer. And as well for the Edmonton Oilers, you've got guys coming up the system now that'll be very important, right? Tomaszek could compete for NHL time. Josh Szymanski will be there at some point. What of Noah Philp? But this is the tough part. The Oilers organization has seen players drop out of playing time just simply due to injury at incredible rates this year. It's been unlike anything we've seen in recent memory. And Bakersfield, need I remind you, has not been very good for very for a very long time now under basically Colin Chalk's tenure, but it's not necessarily all to Colin Chalk's fault. The players he's had available to make the best of the situation in Bakersfield haven't all been that great, and even when they have been, they just end up injured and miss a whole bunch of time, and it doesn't matter anyway. One, namely Josh Hamblin, missing a ton of time here over the past few years as well. So you got to think Noah Philp not in the lineup last year. How much would that have changed things? There's a ton of difference makers the Bakersfield Condors have not had, right? Drake Kajula has been banged up at times. Seth Griffith down there in the Bakersfield system. The defense has yet to catch a break this year at all. The only thing that's really stayed healthy in Bakersfield this year, believe it or not, and they lost Ollie Rodrigue to a time up here in the NHL levels, is the goaltending. The goaltending in Bakersfield has been absolutely incredible, but now all of a sudden you have a situation where the Oilers are gunning up here, adding to the pipeline via that European scouting that, Stan Bowman was touted for having such a good key eye on. You have some free agent acquisitions. The Oilers, despite not having a lot of draft picks, have drafted pro-capable players. I don't want to say NHL players, but they've developed and drafted more than developed, some capable players who should be able to take those next steps here at the AHL level, whether it be this year, whether like some of the goaltenders, whether it be the year after or partly next year. There are some very key pieces that have joined the organization on this list in the past month, and it is absolutely awesome to see the fact that the Oilers, despite, yes, I understand the main focus is here and now on winning a Stanley Cup this year, and boy, oh boy, do I hope the Oilers do it again. What I haven't made clear to those of you sitting here saying I don't have any faith, why would you think I don't want to live stream the games? There's one key reason. If the Oilers survive against the LA Kings, it'll be really damn nice outside when the Oilers are playing some playoff games in May. And let me tell you, after going up there to Edmonton for one or two of those watch parties, that's the only place I want to be when the Oilers are playing games and it's nice outside. So there's kind of a double-edged sword on that one. I want to be playing ball on the nights that I can't make it up to Edmonton, thus being the weeknights. And on the weekends, I want to be up in Edmonton watching the Oilers kick butt every single chance I get. So stay tuned. We'll see what we can do to mix in some content from that. But I'm looking forward to seeing the Oilers take now seriously, which at some point they got to, because it's felt like they've been messing around all year. I really don't think at any point I've been like, man, the Oilers mean absolute business. No, I think what I've said at best this year is the Oilers, hey, things are going to change now because we did this. And then injuries just railed us, and now all of a sudden the Oilers are just kind of, limping to the finish line. But if everybody's healthy, trust me, I know this team's capable. They've got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. You're not going to pull the wool over my eyes on that one. I know what those guys can do at 100%. And you know what? The nice part, like I said, is the Oilers are just taking next year seriously at the same rate, because it's about time an Oilers organization goes out there and takes the future, the present, and the Oilers, to the degree, have always taken the past very seriously, but the future and the present need to be shored up a little bit here, and that's what it looks like is happening here under Stan Bowman, Jeff Jackson, and the rest of the Oilers management as we transition to the final week of the regular season and the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs getting underway here in 6 days' time. Friends, thanks for being aboard here today. I am up on out of here.